NATO today approved a missile defense shield for Turkey as tension with Syria ratchets up. Yesterday, President Obama gave his strongest warning yet that the U.S. would intervene if Syria uses chemical weapons. Syria is believed to have the world's third largest store of such weapons. And today, NATO Secretary General said protecting Turkey from them was the only goal of today's move.
Any deployment will be to protect Turkey. It will be purely defensive in nature. It will in no way support a no-fly zone or any offensive operation.
The Post's Gearan has been at NATO today and joins us now from Brussels, Belgium. And help us understand what this does, what it doesn't do, and why it's important in this whole Syria saga.
It's not quite a missile shield, but it basically operates the same way. Were a missile to be launched from Syria toward Turkey, these things could be activated. They operate by radar from some distance away. They could be told to send up an interceptor, and it basically blocks the incoming missile and makes it blow up relatively harmlessly.
Turkey has a stronger military than Syria to begin with. Syria has its own internal trouble. So I guess I wonder how much of a real threat there is of Syria attacking Turkey. And if this is a symbolic move, what is it meant to symbolize?
There, at this point, doesn't appear to be much threat that Bashar Assad would try to attack Turkey and draw that government specifically into a war. There have been there has been quite a bit of fighting at the border. There have been stray shells and things that have come across the border. Turkey feels undefended. It feels like it's the NATO member closest to Syria and the one bearing the brunt in terms of humanitarian costs and possible military ones. And they want a little love from NATO. So this is cheap insurance for NATO. It's something that's relatively easy to do. It doesn't cost the alliance much in terms of money or really even in goodwill lost.
This isn't a no-fly zone. It's only meant to be defensive, but it brings infrastructure to the border that potentially could be used to put up some type of no-fly zone. Is that right?
That's right. These are fairly sophisticated systems which work against either aircraft or missiles. They are going to be configured in this case to work against missiles, and only those that should cross and only any that should cross Turkish airspace. In other words, it wouldn't reach across the border and try to knock something out of the sky in Syria. If that changed, and everybody says it won't, but if that changed, these forward deployed Patriots could be this is a very inexact term, but basically, turned inside out. They could be made to shoot or defend across the border and form a sort of small, maybe 20, 25 mile no-fly zone along the border, or at least or help in that.
Last thing, does this change the equation in Syria, or is this just a Turkish move that isn't going to change the conflict? Or are the rebels celebrating today, or does it not really affect them?
Well, the rebels have been hoping for any kind of sign from NATO that it might potentially change its mind down the line, so they'll probably read it as that. Syria has said in the past that it opposes any kind of Patriot deployment because it sees it as the camel's nose. That means that eventually these things would be repurposed.
Okay, Gearan in Brussels tonight. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.